my man, joining us this Sunday. I'm gonna let him kick it off right here, but I hope you guys are all doing well.
Is that me?
That's you, big
I think
dog.
so. I
Nice.
think
I
that is you.
appreciate that. I don't know if I'm a celebrity, not yet. So I'm trying to be. I'm trying to be. I'm glad you guys could have me on here. What's going on, Star Wars fans?
Hello there.
Just wanted to say hello and thank you guys for having me on. What a super time. I mean, no, all of us have talked about this. What a great time to be a Star Wars fan. Mandalorian and Grogu dropped this past week. It was amazing. I know we're going to get into it, but thank you guys for having me on here. If you guys haven't already, it's Star Wars Jedi Chat podcast. We're on all the social media platforms, just like these two great guys are. So please go check us out. We do lives on Wednesday evening, 7 p.m. Central Time, and then we have interviews and shorts and different things like that coming on. We do actually have an interview with the one and only Vanessa Marshall, so that'll be pretty sick.
Ooh.
So we're
Money,
psyched about
dude.
that. So yeah,
Money.
so great. She's such a great person, and obviously, as we all know from Rookcast and Harris and Dula and Rebels, it's so cool to have people like that love Star Wars just as much as we do to talk about it. So look for that. And again, thank you guys for having me on here.
Sick, dude. Yeah, that sounds all great, man. Hey, we couldn't have had anyone else on, man. So always appreciate having you on here, Ron. But yeah, guys, last Sunday when we were talking, we were like, you know what? This is going to be the last live stream of Clan Fett before we get Star Wars in theater. And that happened. And I can't believe it happened already 3 nights ago. I mean, this week and even this year of 2026 has flown by, but just insane. Like how were we just in theaters watching Star Wars again? And I know, Ron, you had an early viewing of the first 18 minutes, and I felt like, for me personally, before we get into it, I felt like watching that first little sequence, I'm like, okay, so all the homies had seen this that had access to, the early viewings, and it's just like, okay, now we're just getting started. It felt like we already knew what was going to happen, especially, like with us always being entangled with the news and the rumors. We knew exactly what happened in the first 18 minutes, but just the way it was executed, man, it's just insane how good it was. And we'll talk about the pros, and maybe some cons as well. I mean, we're humans, we like to pick on things a little bit, but I mean, yeah, so we're really gonna get into it today. But early stream, what are we ranking this out of 10? 10 being the highest. Whoever wants to steal it, what are we ranking this?
Is that me?
Go ahead, Ron.
That
It's crazy, and I know we were going to get into the cons a little bit, but I really don't have any, and I'll explain a little bit in a little while. Right off the bat, I've seen it 3 times already. Probably going this afternoon again, and then Monday going to see it with my son on Wednesday, a buddy tomorrow. So we'll get a bunch in. I know you guys are going to get a bunch in as well. But after seeing it the second time, dude, for me, guys. It's a 9.8. I mean, I loved it. I thought it was fantastic, and I'll leave it
Awesome.
there. I'll let you guys rank it, and then we'll get into some discussion for sure.
John, what you got?
Yeah, so I kind of put out a PSA about that. I had it like as a high 7.8 8. Like that's kind of where I'm sitting at, where it was like it's my when I think of like a put it on Star Wars movie, like this is gonna fall in that category. It's like it's not Revenge of the Sith or Rogue One for me, where I'm like this is my favorite Star Wars movie of all time. But I've been saying where it's like it's a awesome Star Wars story. Like it's a great storytelling. Like it adds to the I know again we've seen commentary. Like it adds to the plot of multiple characters. It sets up some pretty big things here in the future to see what we're going to be doing. So I like it, man. Again, it's gonna uh, I will be open to interpretation as I
Where I'm sitting, during the movie, I'm like, I haven't seen anything that's knocking this for me. Everything looked so good. Also, with this being my first time seeing a movie in IMAX, I was just completely blown away by the experience. I had a buddy of mine who said he went and saw Sinners in IMAX, and I was just like, oh man, if you've seen that movie, some of the music and some of the wide shot camera angles were just absolutely amazing in that. So I could only imagine what IMAX could offer. And dude, with a Star Wars movie, and so to me, near and dear to my heart, Star Wars, that's the first movie I get to see in IMAX. Man, the experience was a 10 out of 10. But yeah, so the more I looked at the movie, and as I walked out, I was like, yeah, that was a strong 8 out of 10. Strong 8 out of 10. And I haven't gone up, I haven't gone down on that. I think it's still the same even 3 days after. Once my wife recovers from her procedure that she got done, we're gonna go check out the Mandalorian and Grogu. So it's gonna be really cool to see her reactions, and then of course, if any of my other family members go, I'd love to see what they got. And one day, my biggest thing from this was being a father. I was just like, dude, like it hit all of the notes for me, man. And and that's the thing too, is like you don't have to be a dad to understand the Mandalorian and Grogu, but just for me and my experience, like there were so many times where I was just like, okay, all right, don't cry in the theater, man. Nothing's even happening. It was just more of just like the love and the nature of it. So that was really cool for me. So yeah, dude, 8 out of 10, man. Just really, really strong movie.
That's awesome. I love that you guys are able to experience this stuff now, or in a more regular basis, along with the new stuff that's coming out, and now the movies, that you're able to go and be at an age where you can take it all in, and us being content creators, absorb that and just, and pick it apart a little bit, but pick it apart in a good way. And that's sort of how I looked at it.
Yep.
I, I think there's a lot of on one of the comments I got on TikTok, ironically, it was like someone went in, it was like there's a lot of like forced hate. It seems like that was being pushed on it at the beginning, and it's like I was talking to a couple people and they had a negative connotation and they hadn't even seen the movie. It was like, oh, I just think it's gonna be this or this. It's like, well, have you seen it? And they're like, no. And it's like, well, dude, go see the movie. Like, make up your own
Yeah.
opinion. Like, don't let all the negative, because there's so much negativity online. Brandon and I were talking about it. Like, it gets reactions. So, like there's a lot of people who go on and just will pump that out. And it's like we've seen in those last 3 days, just since Thursday, how the rating went from like what, a 62 or 67 up to an 88 or something now. So the fans are
Yeah.
coming in and they're saying, hey, this is a good movie, man. Like they're reacting positively, and that's something great to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really is. It's sad that they have to start pushing that stuff out, and even the critics coming out in a 60 something, whatever it was,
Hmm.
that was, it's better than a 13 for sure. It's better than a freaking acolyte or something like that, and I
Yeah.
think we're coming off of Maul, which is great. So that helps a little bit. I mean, Maul was just spectacular, but we're coming off of that. So people are sort of a little hyped. They're like, oh, okay, cool. There's this thing that just came out. Star Wars is back. But and then we get this in the movie theater, and yeah, you're just gonna have some hate going on about it, just because, like you said, John, just to get, oh, hey, people are gonna watch me. I'm gonna rip on this. I'm gonna shit on this. It's gonna be, I'm gonna get more views for this, and I'm just like,
Hmm.
seriously, it's crazy to see that stuff. Yeah, hate, right, exactly, Mike. It's hate without even watching it. It's just crazy that people are doing that. And like you said, just go check it out. Don't form an opinion. And if you guys don't mind, I'll get into what I was thinking. Is that cool?
Yeah,
Oh,
do
go
it.
right in, man.
So when I went the first time, I was explaining this to Mike too. I sort of walked out and I was sort of like, man, it was good. It was okay. But what I was doing as a content creator is I was everything that we've all been talking about the past few weeks and months and even year, who's going to be in it? What's going on? What predictions did we make? I'm trying to find all these things. The one thing I remember specifically is, when Din says something, about, oh, I talked to a gun runner and they're going to come and get you, talking to Rada. And I'm like, okay, who is it? Is it going to be Hondo driving it? Is it going to be this? Is it going to be that? So I
No.
was like so immersed in what was coming and what was going to happen and what all our predictions were, that I sort of missed it, fortunately or unfortunately. It was still great. I still liked it. When I went and saw it the second time, and everything, I already knew everything about it. I knew I wasn't looking for anybody. I knew I wasn't trying to find this or that, or all. It blew my mind. It was a fun Star Wars movie for me, just like back in the day. You
Yeah.
had the puppets. Yeah, we have some cool CGI, which was in there, and I thought they did a good job with that. But again, you had the puppets, you had the humor, you had the different planets that we're going to. The action scenes were incredible. You were able to bring in, Embo and Rada and do some really cool things with that. But the Anzellans crushed this freaking movie, I think. the little one-liners, the little talking in between, all these little things, coming in and helping out. And then the character development for Grogu was outstanding. I thought they did a great job with that. And Din is just a badass. Me and Mike were talking about, he was like, is Grogu going to come help Din, do this or do that? He really doesn't, because Din's a badass. I mean, he's just whacking stormtroopers, in the middle of the AT-AT, and walking into, the Hutt's palace, and just, he's such a badass. He doesn't need Grogu to come help him, but they work great together. And like we've all heard in the trailers and stuff, the young protect the old, and then the old protect the young, and then the young protect the old. And that's how it was. But they're both able to stand on their own in their parts, which I thought was great. So for me, it sort of did bring back that feel of the originals. And this is my opinion. I know some people aren't going to feel that way, but for me, it was a cool story. It was what I liked about Star Wars back then, with the puppeteering and the fun things and the battles and all these different things. So that's why I'm at a 9.8, because it's going to be one of my top 5 movies. I feel, because it was just such a well done, executed movie, I thought, with some really cool characters. And it wasn't a huge love story. It wasn't a huge, we got to beat, Admiral Thrawn in the next 4 movies. And, it ends on a really cool note. They win, they do their thing. We know there's other stuff coming. So if you settle in on that, I think, especially as a content creator, if you settle in and just go in and go, hey, you know what? I'm not going to think about any of my predictions or my buddy's predictions or what's going on. I just want to go in and watch this movie and be entertained. It's entertainment, people. It's science fiction. Okay. The CGI, people were bitching about the CGI for Rada. I was like, I thought it was actually pretty good, but it's like, there's no such thing as a Hutt, people. You have to do something with it. They're making it the best that they can. So it's like, this isn't, whatever. This isn't a biography of JFK, so it's a science fiction movie that's all fake, and they've made an amazing story out of it. So that was my takeaway from it, and I thought they did a great job, and I can't wait to go back and see it again.
Yep, that's exactly how I feel too. Just because, like, there was some little tidbits too, especially like with you bringing up like the Hutts and their CGI. Some of the things with them, and also to chat, just to let you guys know, this could contain some spoilers, so just the heads up.
Sorry, I already did.
Come back a little bit later, but we haven't really dove too deep into it, so we'll definitely put up a huge spoiler warning, probably like in the next 15 or 20 minutes once we go on the last half of the show today. But just to kind of keep you guys up to date, if you haven't seen the movie, go see it. I mean, it's like we've already discussed in the first 13 minutes of the show. Form your own opinion. You can listen to the outside voices. I mean, you do whatever you want. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what to do with your life. But if you haven't seen it yet, and you've already seen a lot of things online, like the chatter or even the positives, the negatives, just go have fun and form your own opinion. Literally just turn your brain off and just go enjoy it. Because if you're to turn your brain off for any Star Wars movie, it's probably going to be The Mandalorian and Grogu. Because you're not looking for those little intricate details, even though they're there, but you're still just going to have a really good, fun time. I mean, and that's another critique I've seen where people are just like, oh, it's fun. And it's just like, oh, the average Mandalorian and Grogu fan, oh, it was fun. Yeah, it was a blast. And it's just like, do you not like having fun? Do you not like having a blast? Like whatever happened to that? It's like, man, we're almost too far gone at this point if that's how it is, Like what are we doing here, guys? Like, do you not want to go to the movies and have a good time? And that's why my main thing too with the critics is it's just like, I can't believe it. Even last week, I'm just like, these dudes are going in to the theater or to their screenings of however they get access to, give their opinions. And, they're sitting there with a stone cold face. They have a frown. They're not smiling. They want to, nitpick every single little thing about the movie. And that could be the reason why it has such a low Rotten Tomatoes score, So just those little things like that. Go to the theater and just have a good time. Don't be like these people, man. They're nothing positive comes from them. Because even if you look at IGN's Instagram account, most of their people are cooking IGN. You know, I
Garbage.
saw a comment. Yes, bro. I saw a comment yesterday. Some dude was like, "Y'all fell off back in 1997," and it's just like, damn, you know. So I don't know, dude. And there's been a lot of great movies that have come out since '97, and you know, in my opinion, the '80s has the best movies ever. But I mean, I don't know, dude. Looking at 2026, there's a good little slate of movies. So I mean, it's a good time to, you know, if you want to go hang out in the theaters, especially now that we can again, have fun, enjoy, and just take it easy. Have fun. Be positive, man.
I think Ron made a great point also because of that. Like, I was sitting in there for that first time, and I was like, with the Imperial guy that they made a whole Lego character for. Like, they don't just go out and do like that kind of. And then it's like, it was, again, I'm not gonna say anything, but it's like, I was sitting there like I had a whole bunch of spoilers of this guy being with the Shadow Council of like all this stuff, and it was like, well, your boy's wrong like that. So yeah, there was definitely a different way to go about it. And I almost felt like I don't know, on your video game background if you dabble in that. But I felt like I was playing Mass Effect. Like it was very like planet to planet, mission to mission, kind of like trying to gather your allies, kind of like build your squad, do your thing. Um, but man, it's just yeah, dude, I had a great time, and it's just we'll get into it. We'll start to get into it.
Nah, for sure. That's a well, hey, actually, let's go ahead and get into it real quick. Let's shout out everyone in the chat real quick. We got Skywalking Ryan, of course, Nimble Saucepan. We got Jedi. We got Steve Jedi Jarvo. We got 42 Slarty Bart Fast, dude. Come on, I love the name. How Runner Base. We got Donnie Medler in the building. What's up? Haja. It's not a Sunday without Haja. We got Mike from a guy who loves Star Wars. Shout out to the GOAT right there. One of the best to do it. We got Explore the Force in the building. And if I missed you, please just say, Brandon, you suck, and I will shout you out. Steph, there you are. I see you. Thank you. Thank you for chiming in. Always appreciate it. Seems like John and I's biggest fans are our wives, which is awesome. I don't think most people can say that. Yeah. They're always here. But what? Who else? Anyone? Oh my God, Clan Mandalorian's in the building. What's up? John's in the building. I see. Okay. But yeah. So there we go, guys. So yeah. Oh, Zan Star Killer. What's up, bro? But yeah. So, where do we attack? Where do we attack this? Where do we start? And also, I think we should actually just, go ahead and throw up a spoiler warning now. So if you haven't seen the movie, please be careful. Come back. The Broncos do not suck. But yes, I am cool as well. So I'm cool and my football team's cool. But anyways, quit. We're trying to talk Mando and Grogu right now, Jimmy. It is a trap. But yeah, so spoiler warnings, guys. Let's talk about the beginning. So I do love that we have seen Mando and Grogu right off rip, and of course we see Lateef Crowder and Brendan Wayne just going absolutely crazy in that opening sequence where they're in the AT-ATs, pretty much just blowing everything up. A snow/stormtrooper stands no chance alongside Din Djarin. They have never had good luck against him. But you really, really get to see that here. So what did you guys think of the badassery? I know Ron already mentioned how badass Din Djarin is, especially in the Star Wars galaxy, but like, what were we thinking of that opening sequence, man? Because for me, I was just like, I was perked up in my seat, just like, oh my God, let's go, let's go, let's go. So what did you guys think of that?
Go ahead, John.
It's a good time, and I view it as like it's just like the Hut said, the legendary Mando. It's like this dude at this point in time in history is pretty renowned, pretty known. He doesn't really waste time, like just walks in, handles business. He's plated up with Beskar, so it's like unless you get like a critical hit or something like that in a zone not covered, he's just gonna tank it and keep coming. So it's like I like the not like immortality they have with him, but I do kind of like the plot armor that they give him, literally, where it's like they're stormtroopers. Like they're not the best dudes in the galaxy. They're not, they're not trained to be incredible, and it's just the Mando dude. This is just another day in the park for him.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah, definitely. I think when we put it all together and we know what he's done already, and he's already been a badass in the universe, and like you had suggested with the Hutt saying the legendary. So we know he's a badass. And when he comes in, and they don't even know it half the time. He's just sneaking in, and that was the best part about that first one. The guy's on the radio, and all of a sudden, boom, he gets shot in the head and just drops. Which is awesome. So it's like, and you don't even see it. Same with when they're in the council room. They're just sitting in there. They know he's already in the building. And those two stormtroopers are sitting on the outside of that table. All of a sudden, boom, one just drops down. And you don't even see him yet. So coming in there like that, I think it shows, and that's again how Star Wars has started most of the time, whether it's, Empire Strikes Back or A New Hope, just with the Star Destroyer coming over and we have the whole opening scene there, so I think they've done a great job continuing that, in my opinion, continuing that Star Wars universe where you have that 1-2 punch right at the beginning. Getting us in there, putting the screen up. It wasn't a scroll, which was cool. Again, this is 2026. This is 50 years later, so things are gonna change, people. So it's a good thing that things are changing. They still had, I thought, the meat and potatoes of it, but you know what? It's okay if they didn't have a scroll. It's okay if they started, with the announcing or coming across the screen that Pedro Pascal and Jeremy Allen White are in the movie. And I thought it was great that Lateef and Brandon got their names right up front there, so that's so cool. But just starting out with that, Din being just such a badass with all his tools he has. I love that the one trooper's sort of standing up and he shoots above him and whatever, that thing just comes down and just mushes him right there. So he doesn't always have to have the blasters or different things like that. I feel like he's the Star Wars John Wick, because he has all of the, John Wick's got his little, suit that's bulletproof nowadays, but he's got his Beskar on. So again, even if he gets hit a few times, it's just bouncing off him, so he can continue to fight, which I think is awesome. And he just keeps going at it until, like you said, till the job is done. He goes in, gets the job done, and then boom, we're out. All right, Zeb, pick us up.
I'm not looting. I'm not doing nothing. Like, I'm just I'm out of here.
From the trailer though, when Grogu was like tapping on Mando's helmet, I thought it was only going to happen once. So then seeing Mando turn around, or he's like, no, I have to like lock in right now, and Grogu turns around again and is just like, oh nah, we got to go now, and then he's like, then he shoots and then they take off. So like that, like the little things like that, that's what we want in Star Wars. There's so many times where, when Mando and Grogu are doing like a task or like going through like a little side mission like this, it kind of reminds me of like what we could have seen with younger Obi-Wan and younger Anakin. Like that they were on the same time. And one thing I did pick up too was a lot of people who were saying like this seemed just kind of like a 3 episodes smashed into one. And I know Mike just mentioned it in the comments, and him and I were texting about it, where it's just like, well, we like the Mandalorian show, so why would we not, like 3 episodes of the Mandalorian stretched into a movie? I mean, that's just nefarious, really. So I'm all for that, but I feel stupid trying to bring this up, and I can't even remember what it is. But in Revenge of the Sith, when they finally land on Coruscant, when they crash land, and Obi-Wan was telling Anakin about the mission that they had, where Anakin like saved him, it was like Neo Nemoidia or something like that. Yeah, so like that little discussion right there, and I probably know it's expanded into a novel or a comic and like what actually happened there, that is just kind of like a side mission. So that's how I look at the Mandalorian and Grogu. Them hunting these Imperial remnants, we're just now seeing on screen them running a little side mission. It's kind of like what Obi-Wan and Anakin just had. So now, who knows, later in the future, we could see Mando and Grogu kind of reminisce on the times of how they had to go to Nal Hutta and wipe out the Hutts, or they had to go and maybe Din Djarin tells people like, hey, I fought this, infamous bounty hunter, whether he knew him or not, in Embo. So there's just like those little things where it's like, this story can definitely be something to come back to later, like going down the timeline. It's just us as viewers, we're able to see this little tidbit of this small little story in the Mandoverse that could make sense later down the line. And I think that's what the Mandalorian TV series is for. I think that's what Ahsoka is for, what Skeleton Crew, Book of Boba Fett, that's where the story and the groundwork is. This right here, we just went on an adventure with two beloved characters that we, all three of us and everyone in the chat and everyone down the street knows about. Baby Yoda and the Mandalorian. That's exactly what this movie was. So just those little things right there. So I'm just looking at the first, 20, 30 minutes where I'm just like, this is just this is a fun little ride at the beginning, nothing too crazy, nothing too risky. We'll get to the great storytelling after this.
I view it as like they had to put the movie out. I'm sure they were sitting there like, hey, we have to put something on the big screen. And so like, what's our most successful thing right now? So it's Mando and Grogu. Let's throw it up. But I almost think with Filoni coming back in and the co-lead coming back up with Star Wars and Lucasfilm, I think this sets the groundwork to pull season 4 of Mando back out of the trenches, where it's like, hey, we had this movie, we can still expand on it before and or after the Ahsoka series, season 2. So it's like, I think that's still there for them to put that back on the table, where like it was supposed to get shelved for this movie. We have this movie come out, a little more of a side mission, as you're saying, and then it's like, okay, well, let's go back to season 4, lay it all out, whether that's before or after Ahsoka, and then we still have we have that option to do that if we want.
Yep.
I wanna touch a little bit on what Jimmy said here. Let me just went away.
Yeah, it was a good comment.
Yeah, there you go. I think for us, yes, we all of us content creators, all of us huge Star Wars nerds wanted probably some more lore, wanted some more connections, do things like that. But if you sit down, like you guys were saying earlier, and watch this just as a fan, watch this just as entertainment, that's what this movie is about. They needed to put something in the theaters. And again, we're only a small cog of who's going to go see this movie. There's hundreds of thousands of people that are going to see this movie just to go and for the entertainment and not even know who half the characters are. They want to go see some cowboy sci-fi movie with this cute little green thing that used to be called Baby Yoda and now they call it Grogu. But where all of us are, like I said, that first time I was trying to figure out things the whole time. Okay, what did that mean? What did this mean? Who's coming up? When are we going to see Thrawn? What's going on with that? So I think to wrap that little thing up that Jimmy said, I think that, yes, we probably wanted some more lore and some more connections, which as we go along and watch it more and more and it gets broken down more and more, we're going to see these Easter eggs. Mike broke a bunch of them down yesterday, and there's a ton of really cool Easter eggs in there. But the main thing is once we get past this, the whole thing is going to end up revolving around Thrawn for the next couple of years, I think. That's what they're just sort of building up, a cool little side gig for this.
Right.
It got a little expanded. Okay, the whole maybe Rada thing just got a little expanded because now we find out about Lord Janu and what's going on with him. So I think that was a really cool thing that they did, and just sort of keeping it in this little ball so that it doesn't go too far and not everybody else is trying to figure more crazy stuff out and more lore and this was wrong or this birthday that doesn't match up here and things. So I think they really did a good job, and I love the story for Rada. When we first get to see him and he starts talking and sort of telling Din what he's been doing and living in the shadow of his dad, who is this huge gangster who we already all know about.
Everyone
I thought
feared
that
him.
was a really cool. Yeah, I thought that was a really cool, little twist that they had, and we got more character development for Rada as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that too. I've actually seen some good things about Rada online because one of the main things I saw with Rada, and it was kind of actually a spoiler for me that I saw on online, was that Rada was kind of soft, and I was like, what does that mean? Like, what do we mean by Rada being soft? So. I like that Rada's that way. And potential spoilers, by the way. Rada just really, like, how to a sense, how boring would it be to just see another Hutt and be like, oh yeah, that's a big bad tough guy, that's a gangster. Like, we don't need that necessarily. We've had that plenty of times. I mean, the Hutt twins, come to find out, they just suck, because like in the Book of Boba Fett, you're like, oh yeah, like they respect Boba, but then now at the same time in the Mandalorian and Grogu, they're kind of switching up and they want to go after their nephew, which in my opinion it was just like really weird, because it's just like you guys were this way in the Book of Boba Fett, and then now you're like really wanting to like just go after someone. It seems like they're just real shallow individuals, which makes sense. But with Rada, I really like how he's relatable, man. I mean, why would he want to be anything like his dad? People wanted to kill Rada because of who his dad was. So him kind of making his own way, really cool. And it's also kind of like like with Rey being a Skywalker. I know that ruffles feathers across the fandom, but it's just like, why would she want to keep the name Palpatine, which she never had that anyways? What, she didn't even know her own last name for most of her life. So her, taking on the Skywalker name, it's not her basically like being adopted in. She's just living on the legacy. So it's just like same thing with Rada. He doesn't have to be, Jabba's heir to Jabba's palace or heir to Jabba's, past doings. It's just like he has the right to be different, So I really like that. And plus Jeremy Allen White, I'm a huge Shameless fan, so now it's just we're getting another character from Shameless into the Star Wars galaxy. So now, Disney, if you hear this, I need a scene with Cal Kestis and Rada the Hutt. That way we can have Lip and Ian Gallagher in the same shot, man. Who would have ever known Shameless would come to Star Wars? I mean, come on. Side note.
I got so two things with the Rada thing, because I know we had talked about this, Brandon, but it's like, this is the second time Rada has now been saved by a Jedi. So it's like he's got one of the few, he's one of the few people in the galaxy that are like still high on like a good vibe with the Jedi, like who they were, what they stood for. It was Ahsoka and Anakin before. Now it's Mando and Grogu that are coming in to save the day. So it's like I think the character development with where they're going to put him in the New Republic is going to have a pretty impactful scene. And then, but going back real quick to the Thrawn thing, as a huge Thrawn fan, had they name dropped anything with Thrawn, the movie would have been about Thrawn for me. Like I wouldn't have cared about the Mando and Grogu stuff. So it's like, Dave Filoni
Yeah.
came out and was talking about how they didn't want to include Thrawn or Ahsoka because it takes away from the movie. Like it takes away from their presence in their own film. Um, so it's like, we're gonna get a whole season with them, or with doing, like you said, we're gonna get years of that group, hopefully. So with them not being in there, like I was bummed in the beginning, and then I was like, it's not about that, Like it's this whole thing with Mando and Grogu, and now we have a huge power vacuum in the galaxy where it's like, so what happens with the underworld with syndicates? Like you surely like the
Hmm.
Crimson Dawn or someone is sitting there like, hey, it's time to make a move, Like we got a
Yeah.
lot of options going on here. So that was my
Yeah.
quick tidbit.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
for
dude.
sure.
I mean, that's it's all valid, dude. And especially with like what the Mandalorian and Grogu was as a movie, you got to see different characters, of course. Rada had a lot of time. I feel like when he was like getting his massage or whatever, when he was in the cell, I mean, we got maybe 5 to 10 minutes of just like pure dialogue between Mando and Rada. And then him trying to feed Grogu some of like the snacks and stuff. Like, how cool is that? So there was a point in time where I thought Rada was just gonna like smash on Grogu because I was like, I don't know this character yet. But he took him in, and it's just like it's such a cool callback. And John Favreau said, Rada the Hutt, you don't need to see the Clone Wars movie to understand like who this character is. When he was a child, so him maybe Rada understands like when he was young, he was taken in, so now he can look towards the future and the next generation and look at Grogu and be like, okay, see, he can be taken in. And then by the end of the movie, Rada just applauds Mando and tells Grogu, like, you have a good one, So then that kind of hits the heartstrings a little bit because it's like, Rada probably wishes he had a father that was like Mando to Grogu. So there's so many different little themes in this movie that make it so well to that aspect. But yeah, I see like Jimmy's didn't really care for the Hutt CGI, which at times it kind of looked a little different, I would say. I mean, it didn't really make or break it for me, but I know a lot of it was from inspired and kind of passed over from Guillermo del Toro's Hut movie that he wanted to work on. So I know that they took in some of the stuff from that. So maybe there were like some Hut fight scenes that they kind of used in there. So they kind of
Hey,
did look nasty, like
copy my
sliming over
homework,
each other.
but change it a little bit.
Yeah, here, take it, but change your answers. Don't get 100. But yeah, so yeah, Rada probably was like, I think someone broke it down. I don't know if it was a Star Wars website, but I think they had him at like 50 or 55.
He was a baby in the
Because
Clone Wars, so
yeah,
like,
so he was like, I think he's like 37 BBY was when he was born, I believe. What I
because
read, but
this is 9 ABY, right? When the film took place,
11.
11. So he's probably sitting at like, yeah, in his 30s. He
Yeah,
was a
he's somewhere
baby
in
when
there.
Ahsoka saved him. Ahsoka's in her 40s, late 30s, so it's like right around there.
Well, and they
Um,
live a long time as well, correct?
Yeah.
yeah, it
So
was
again,
cool when the twins were telling him like, yeah, like Grogu's species lives, just as long as we do. I was like, oh shit, that's dope.
We're gonna
yeah. So
torture
again,
Rada for
if
centuries.
you have Rada in his 50s, that's really not that old, you
Right.
know. Um,
Yeah,
and
and
I
they
think it was cool because, and I know they're talking about a bunch of huts here in the chat, but I think that what we or some people have forgotten is even Rada is now pretty much top of the food chain because of his lineage and his
Yep.
bloodline. So you can have these other huts here and there, and just like the twins were trying to sort of run what they were doing. If you get more huts into this, and Rada wants to, he can be like, "Listen, I'm the Dom now. You know what? I'm the Godfather. So y'all are going to step down. You're going to be my lieutenants and my captains, but I'm still the head dog here if that comes to fruition. And I also think that now that he's going to, maybe help out a little bit with the Republic or whatever he's going to do here at the end, we might be able to have some insights if the huts do rise up again in the next few years or whatever. He's going to have some insights on, how to, possibly deal with them as well, which I think will be cool, from
Yep.
a good side and a bad side.
he's gonna be like
I
the
agree.
Aragorn to the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
It's like the heir to the Hutt Empire.
And you know what's crazy is like we're talking Mandalorian and Grogu, but look how much we're talking about Rada, and whether that's intentional or not, Rada was a huge part of the show or
Absolutely.
this movie, and from start to finish. I mean, once he's first shown on screen, all the way until the end. I mean, you have no idea what direction he's going, whether he's going to be a good guy, a bad guy, and then obviously he might end up working for the New Republic. How cool is that? So yeah, super super cool, man. I'm trying to think of the okay, so the Dejeric that was dropped. So we're just like my ears perked up. I'm like, oh wait a second, we're actually gonna play the game. But obviously, when Lord Janu pulls out all of the creatures, and now it's just this big slugfest within the pit. I mean that I saw a few people down the rows kind of do this number right here once all of them started coming out. So I'm like, oh yeah, because that's one thing. I know it's dark in the theater, but I love to hear the oohs, the ahs, the sudden laughter. And that all happened a lot in this movie, but especially once the pit fight came up, I saw like 3 or 4 people in front of me do this number. So it could have been coincidence, but it was a insane scene. So what did you guys think of the live action Dejeric?
Go ahead, John.
The overhead shot where they did it down and all the creatures are fighting and it was the live version of the game. That was like the coolest,
Yes.
like, oh, I love to see that. Like this dude is an imperial like mastermind. He like this is what he wants to do. He has a live action game board. Like he doesn't just play the game. Like he collects these gnarly creatures, throws them in a pit and plays a live action version of it with real money and a gladiator ring. And I thought that was cool. Like it was one of those like it hit the home for me where I'm like, oh, this is sweet. Like there's a bunch of different like Easter eggs in here. Like it's just a little tidbit, but it was a great time for me.
Yeah.
Sick, yeah.
And it's such a throwback and homage to the originals. I thought it was so cool because when we were leaving the first time, there was a bunch of guys, about 4 or 5 of them, that were my age that obviously saw the originals, and they were like, that was like that chess set, and they were so excited about that, and they were like, that was so fan service, man, that was awesome. Which again, you're gonna get fan service in these. That's what these are about, you know. I mean, some of these really cool things that we got going on, and I thought the CGI and the fight scenes for this, and even with Rada and Mando were phenomenal. You know, for everything to do that, and then for him, like you said, John, for him to sort of control that, like Lorgiano to control that and have, you know, all right, I bought these, I'm going to bring them together, and we're going to, you know, this is going to be, you know, like the little mini Vegas out there, you know, at his gladiator ring where they're betting on things, and, you know, and being able the strategy that we're able to do, I thought was pretty good, because it wasn't really like they fooled Din Djarin or Grogu or anything like that. They just, you know what, they got gassed, and you know, now all of a sudden, hey, yeah, they got, and that's it, you know. And what I also think that shows that Mando is also still human, which I think is cool, because again, like at the beginning, you see him, you know, he doesn't go down. He's fighting 15 stormtroopers, and he's jumping out of AT-ATs, and he's doing this and doing that, and he's winning every time. But you got to have a little bit of a loss here to make him, I feel like, more realistic and more believable. Where, you know, like, you know, when John Wick gets shot, okay, he's not, you know, he's not Superman. He's gonna take something, and it's gonna distract him a little bit, you know, from what's going on. And I thought that was cool with what they did with those things with Mando and Grogu. Even though we know Grogu probably could have just popped out of that bird cage if he wanted to, you know, but he stayed there because he knew Mando was down there doing what he needed to do. And eventually, you know, he knew probably, I'm sure, you know, okay, my dad's going to kick everybody's ass, and he'll come grab me from this bird cage in a little bit.
Literally. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
Trust in your father, man. Yeah, dude, I don't know. It's some of the chat's talking about fan service, and I do think this movie does definitely touch up on it. I feel like if you were to go watch it 2 to 3 times, because I know once I go see it again, I'm gonna be like, oh, okay, that's what this is. I mean, that's just how it always goes with movies. But I think there was a good amount of fan service. I mean, when folks online are just like, oh, like, you know, the Obi-Wan Kenobi series was meh, but it had this, and you know, they called it the fan service, and it's just like, I mean, that's the whole point. You know, you like Star Wars, so don't you want to see some things that are familiar? I mean, that gets you hooked in. I mean, how many fan service moments are there all throughout the Clone Wars? I mean, that's just basically prequels fan service all over the place. But it also helped enhance the prequel trilogy, because a lot of folks forget how bad those were reviewed back in the day. It was even worse than what Mando and Grogu is today. So it's funny how things turn around. But yeah, dude, really cool. I'm trying to think of like something that really stood out to me, and that was actually something more so than Nal Hutta. I thought it was actually insane that we got to see the nasty, stinky, slimy, swampy planet of Nal Hutta, and I think they executed it really well. And the first thing that stood out to me was the color of the planet itself. And once they were there, it's real, just, it looks humid, it's nasty, and I feel like they really captured that, and especially on the big screen, you get to see that. So what did you guys think of old Nal Hutta finally seeing that in live action?
I thought it was great. I thought, you know, being able to, again, visually and not have to imagine it, now we have an idea of what it looks like. And again, walking through when they first get in there, even when they go in there voluntarily, you know, he's walking through, he's talking to Grogu about the Hutts and sort of giving him their, you know, their background. So he's like, you know, we might be a guest, but you know, don't turn your back on these guys, because you know they're not the greatest guys in the world. And just real quick, in reference to that fan service, which I'm sure you guys probably and everybody in the chat knows, but when on the Millennium Falcon, when R2-D2 and Chewie are playing, those two creatures, and they did the exact same thing during the gladiator fight. The one big huge one picks up that one, I don't know the names, you know, picks up the one with a hammer, and that's what you see while they're playing. You know, that one picks it up and just slams it on the chessboard.
Yeah.
Verbatim what happens on that chess game, which I thought was really cool as well. And I picked that up the first time somebody had popped that off in a little short or something. Oh, most people didn't pick up on this, where again, Probably most people didn't, but people like us are like, oh, that's from A New Hope. That's exactly what Chewie and R2 were doing. And, so I thought that was really cool. But to get back, I digress. To get back to the Nalhutta, it was just so cool to see just like it was for me to see Jabba's palace for the first time when R2 and C-3PO are walking up to it, and we got to see a little bit. But now to be at their home planet with all the again the security that they have, and that was touched on as well. They're buying the best of the best for security. All these, I forget what the name of the clan or the company was that they hired all these droids from and stuff, but they have all these little badass droids to protect them, along with the two huge ones that are outside there, that Din actually takes down pretty much by himself, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, I thought
It was the droid Gatra, right?
Yeah, those two big
Was it
huge
the
ones that
Gatra?
are on the
Yeah.
and just seeing things like that brings it into more perspective, I feel like, and we don't have to headcanon it or think about different things that we thought it might be.
Sorry, that's for
It's
Jimmy.
sort of like for Solo. For me, I know Brandon's a huge fan of Solo, but for me, Solo was such a great movie because I got to see him meet Chewie. We have an idea of what went on and what the
Yeah.
whole story was. And okay, yeah, Han wins the Millennium Falcon from Lando, but we don't see how he does it, and we get to in that movie. And those were the cool things that I liked. Why the Millennium Falcon looks the way it does, because we never saw it until that movie. You never saw the Millennium Falcon as a full Millennium Falcon with the escape pod in the front. We've always seen it with the escape pod gone until they show us how or what happened to it in Solo. So I thought those were really cool and fun fan services for me to be able to see what Nahata looks like, to see what the inside of there, again, just looking off in these little things and seeing these little slimy things rolling around on each other, and it's still all muddy and nasty as you walk through there. So I think they did a great job with the sets on these as well.
Yes. Nah, I agree. I will also be making a video on why I love Solo soon, guys, just because everyone just keeps throwing it at me. So what I'm gonna do is at some point we're gonna make a short and we're gonna talk about Solo and why it's good. It literally is a trap. I keep getting trapped into here. My wife will probably hate that though, because she does not like Solo. I don't know why, but hey, it's okay. She her and I always talk about it a lot, pretty much. So last time we went out to eat with Jimmy was like, so you want to watch Solo sometime? So there's definitely a lot of good stuff between Solo and my wife, but I do love it, guys. Anyways, one thing I will say though too with the droids was it's really cool that we get to see in the Mandalorian and Grogu, you get to see things, of course, from the original trilogy, because we're still in that little timeline. We're just only 10 years after all of that. We get little nods from the prequels. We get to see, obviously, Rada the Hutt, who is from the prequel era, seeing him in the Clone Wars movie. We get to see B1 battle droids. We get to see B2 battle droids. They're stags. All of those cool little props there. And then, of course, going forward, there's so many action scenes that are completely duplicated and replicated from the sequel trilogy. So, like when those stormtroopers hit the when they hit the bomb and they all flew off like forward, we got to see that again in Mandalorian and Grogu. And then, obviously, the looming threat in the Shadow Council, we get to see a couple of the members. That is all leading up to the First Order. So we literally have the sequels sitting in play. I feel like that is literally what the groundwork is of the Mandoverse. I feel like the Mandoverse is definitely bridging the original trilogy and Palpatine's reign into the First Order, which, we already have the Brendel Hux. We have Armitage Hux's father. That's a part of the Shadow Council. We have so many factions with the Project Necromancer and the cloning that's going to go forward. So, I mean, this is all just a bridge, but I really do love the Mandoverse. It's probably my favorite timeline in all of Star Wars. And just the fact that we got a freaking movie out of that is also, just the icing on top. So, okay, so what else, man? Do we think that
Let me touch on something real quick, because I really liked one of the most realistic aspects at the end of the fight when the power gets shut off. and all of the like creatures like look at each other and they're like, "Nah, we're out." Like I think I love that it was like a. It's not like a movie where they're like, "Now we're gonna keep fighting the good guys," and like it like just stop their process. It's like, nah, dude, all the bugs saw the like laser gates turn off and they're like, now we're out. Like all escape start
Yep.
causing havoc. So I love that. And then with the Now Hutta, one thing I really liked was they didn't show the castle really in the first visit. It was the second visit where they're being brought back as a prisoner by Embo, where it shows the full scale of the castle, and then they're kind of walking in, and it's the exact opposite of Jabba's palace. It's like they have that long winding entrance that Luke's walking down, where at Jabba's it's like cement, concrete, sand, and then on Now Hutta it's like this like nasty, weird creature type material that they're walking down. So just like the comparisons between that. But sorry, like the bug thing popped in my mind, and I was like, oh, I love that scene real quick. Sorry.
No,
Right. Yeah.
that's awesome. I want to, if you don't mind, how run or base, this didn't make Shadow Council look menacing enough. I think we already know how menacing the Shadow Council is. I think it sort of starts out that way, where we are dealing with the Shadow Council, and then even with Lord Janu is part of the Shadow Council. But that sort of goes by the wayside because now the story is about the Hutts and Rada and what's going to go on now that Din Djarin has got canceled. So it sort of got put on the back burner, which I think we'll get to eventually. But I just think that it wasn't the focus. They weren't the focus of the bad guys at this point. It was the Hutts, in the end, and they end up beating the Hutts in the end. And we're gonna deal with the First Order and the remnants of the Empire as we go along. We're gonna get more of that, I'm sure. Even in Ahsoka season 2. So that's where I think sometimes people were looking for some of these other things, and somebody else mentioned it here in the chat, was just go and have fun with this movie. And Brandon, you said that at the beginning as well. Just go and have fun with it and enjoy it for what it is, because it is a very cool, entertaining Star Wars movie.
Yep. It is. And that's all it has to be. It doesn't need to be anything more than that, to be fair. I mean, just the way it's very simple, and you get some, it's just not expanding lore. And I feel like this movie is just a breath of fresh air. That's kind of what I just keep calling it, because if there was lore bending events or some things where you're just like, why did that happen? Did this happen because of this in the past? Like, how does that connect to Obi-Wan Kenobi? So like little things like that. I feel like sometimes that's where it gets super divisive, is when people are trying to figure all those things out. I mean, look at the Acolyte. People are like, "Oh, it broke canon and it just bend lore," and it's like, but did it though? Is that just a gripe? I mean, it's such an easy cop out to say. So I mean, if the Mandalorian and Grogu had all of those things, we would definitely be seeing a whole different perspective of how people look at this movie. So the way it's calm and just easy, I think that's nice. That's what Star Wars fans need. And even the ones who don't really like what Disney Star Wars is doing right now, that's how you kind of get those people back, is just like, hey, have this, dissect it, do whatever you want with it. But just this is just one for the ages, man. It's just a fun movie. That's all it is. That's all it has to be.
Yeah, and I think too many people are trying to go in too hard on it, and me as well. I mean, the first time I was just going
Yeah.
in, like I said, just boom, 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 diving in, trying to pick out all this stuff and see what was coming next. And when I went the second time and just went to enjoy it, it literally was 10 times better for me.
Mm-hmm. Do we think Fen Rao died? I've seen this comment a couple times. Sorry, Mandalorians. I don't know, dude. I don't know. I'm not too sure.
He doesn't
Maybe.
have a canon ending as of right now.
So yeah, maybe he'll get worked in, or a Tales series, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. And, like Mike said, it's a happy ending in this, which is cool. We're not getting arms chopped off and trying to figure out, what's happening next with, now we find out Luke and Darth Vader are related and what's going on. And it's just such a cool little ending. We know we have Starfighter coming. We're all assuming, and even in an interview that John did last week or whenever it was when I watched it, he sort of manipulated this a little bit for what Dave has planned. And he admitted that. So we know that hopefully we're assuming that these are going to be this is going to be a trilogy, or Dave's movies are coming, which are going to be the Mandoverse, the Heir of the
Right.
Empire, whatever you want to call it. So Starfighter is going to be, much more into the future, which is awesome, and we'll be able to have that as well. But I think this Mandoverse, this was a fun thing to just get the audiences back in the theater, get them excited about Star Wars again, and then keep going. The normie fans, get them excited. The people that think Star Wars is dead, this should hopefully, you know, reassure them that Star Wars isn't dead, that Star Wars is alive and well, and we're killing it with Maul and Mandalorian and Grogu, and and now Ahsoka for next year, and Ryan Gosling being in Star Wars. So Star Wars
Yeah.
isn't dead. You might not
No.
like it as much as you did, or you might have your own opinion, but Star Wars isn't dead.
No, and dude, they could Disney and Lucasfilm could keep putting out trash. Let's say it's just absolute trash. It's stop. It's not dying, dude. If it
Yeah.
Here's my thing though. If Star Wars was dead, it died in the early 2000s. You know why? Because that's when people were like, "Oh, I have this thing called the internet where I can just, let my opinions out and just, hash out." And it's like, guys, we cannot forget how hated the prequels were. I got made fun of in elementary school for praising Revenge of the Sith. I mean, we've had how many actors in the prequel era got so much hate that they either quit doing movies in general, seeked help in therapy, had, S thoughts, like it's just, guys, like you gotta think of what has actually happened. Star Wars is not dead, man. Like, we have to really understand that. Maybe it's just not your time for Star Wars, and that's fine. I know I have friends that are into Marvel, and they're just like, it's just like not what it used to be. And cool, they're not sitting down like, oh, it's so dead, Marvel's so trash. It's just like, come on, guys. It's just like it's almost to the point to where it's like absolutely ridiculous, and it's not new. It's nothing new.
It's just then there's like a whole lot of you don't need to be comparison or comparing movies now to like what was the pinnacle of what we saw. And it's all gonna be biased, like to me, Rogue One and Revenge of the Sith, Empire Strike Back, like those are my three favorite movies. I could have someone tell me they hate those movies. So like
Yeah.
it's completely up in the air, and it's like I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh well, this wasn't as good as Rogue One or Revenge of the Sith. It's like, well, it's not even close to the same story, or the expectation is different. So it's like, I don't know. It's like, why are you comparing it back to just enjoy it for what it is, you know?
Yeah, dude. And
Exactly.
it's like, what happened to that nature? Like, you don't have to be too like overwhelmed with like what's going on in Star Wars. It's just like,
Yeah.
and for us, it's easy for us to say because this is what we do every day. We make content every day, and sometimes I have to check myself, and I sit down and I rewatch Star Wars, just because I'm like, I'm a fan still, like making all of these theories and videos and trying to dumb down every single little thing. It's just like I have to remember that I'm still a Star Wars fan at the end of the day. So I like to, sit back and take all that in. But yeah, I don't know. What is there anything else with the movie you guys want to touch on? I know there's in the entire back half of the Dragon Snake, the Hutts, Embo versus Mando. So which part do we want to talk about?
I mean, how long you want to go, bro?
I think we got 15 minutes.
John, go ahead. Looked like you were going to say something, or you're just
Oh,
typing
I'm
some
getting cooked
comments.
over Empire Strikes Back right now.
And that's just it. Everybody has their opinion on what their favorite movie is, and what their favorite live action was. And I think, like you're talking about, it has a lot to do with this brand and the phone, social media. That's why everybody, they can sit here and be like, oh, Star Wars sucks. Oh, this is, that, blah, 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 and sort of hide behind that screen and just put stuff out there. But it's like, then why are you here? Or go watch it again and form another opinion, or go watch Marvel, or go watch, Bridges Over Madison County. I don't care. I'm not going to come, and rip on your movie. It's this
Yeah.
this is entertainment, and it's fun for everybody. And I think that's what unfortunately has sort of killed that, is social media, because you can just get on there and just put up whatever you want and talk about, things behind screens.
Yeah, man.
Real real quick. Also I love that they had Embo survive. Like I was very
Yeah.
worried that they were gonna ice our boy at the end of that. and I was like, nah, man, not like this. Like, don't let him go out like that. So to see him continue, and I almost think we're gonna see him again in the aspect of like a, Embo's a very, just like most bounty hunters are very like business oriented. Like his deal with the Huts are
Yeah.
done. Like he's got no reason or animosity towards, well, maybe besides almost getting him killed, but to each their own. But he's gonna see Mando, and it's like if we need to work together, like Mando and Grogu, and then Embo and his pup, like that would be a brutal team, man. That would be sweet
Oh
seeing them
yeah.
do like a mission.
Yeah, Embo went crazy, dude. I think it was really cool too to see him kind of move the way he did. You know, he is a lanky figure, and I always forget how little his head is because I feel like in the Clone Wars, he had that little dome piece, but in the Mandalorian and Grogu, I was just like, damn, bro, put your hat back on, because he just kind of looked funny at times because his little head. It kind of reminds me of the dude from Beetlejuice, the big body but the little head. So that was kind of what Embo was doing for me, but I think it was really cool the way he was, and I also love how slick and smooth he is. He just walks out, and I thought that was just really cool because what when the so Rada and the twins, they get into to a little roly match. So then Rada's just going ham. The floor starts breaking, and then they all fall down. And then once again, just like John mentioned, Rada once again is saved by a Jedi, and freaking Grogu holds up Rada. Then I know that was some big weight, and sets him down to the side. And then now the Huts are down in the water, so kind of seeing what's going on there. And the way they just called out and cried to Embo, they're like, "Bounty hunter, save us," and he's just
Nah,
like, deuces,
yo,
turns around and walks out. So that right there, like, that is great stuff. So it's going to be cool to see Embo return, whether he's on the good side or the bad side in future projects. But I do like that they didn't kill Embo, just because every time we get a really loved bounty hunter from animation turned live action, they go out, just like Cad Bane. That's whether he's dead or not, it happened off screen, so we don't know what happened. But I was hoping that Embo didn't get the presumed Cad Bane treatment, because Embo is such a really cool character. Kibu, I think, is the dog that he has. So it's gonna be cool to see them once again. And man, I felt bad for that Enzelin that was a chew toy for a little bit in the movie. I felt so bad. I was like, no, let him go.
I thought
Yeah,
he
he
was
didn't die,
a
so that
goner.
was that was good. Yeah, so did I. But when I figured when he had him in his mouth and he was still talking and yapping with everybody, the other Anzellans, I was like, all right, they're probably not going to kill him at this point. And then especially when he walks up on the ship. But to start off with Embo, I thought they did a great job introducing him. We see him. He's spying. He's just in the background. He's watching what's going on, who's leaving, who's coming. And then once they start the fight, I love the scene where it's sort of like his point of view, where he's running up to Mando's house and he jumps up on there. So again, you're giving the audience a little bit more background. This guy's able to just run and jump up
That
on
boy's
top of him.
fast.
Yes, do that.
Moving.
And when Din, throws the explosive up on top, and Embo comes down, he's already got his helmet up because he knows he's going to get fired upon against Mando. So he's already got his helmet, his hat, whatever you want to call it, up, and Din hits it a couple times, but then they go at it, and yeah, he rolls out of there and he's already got a trap for Din,
Yeah.
which
You
is so good.
think I give a damn about my house, Embo?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, I'll blow the roof off this bitch. Don't play with me.
I'll take everybody with me.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
But yeah.
And Embo doesn't care. He knows, because he would have been the same way. If somebody would have come into Embo, if Din came into Embo's house, he would have been the same way. And that's what I
Yeah.
loved about that whole interaction with the two bounty hunters. They're both going after, because Din's talking to him, the couple times, who's paying you, and is it the Huts, and did you get paid, and he says, what does he say, something about his client, his breed. He said, oh yeah, I guess I figured you would have got paid, and he hits that thing and just zaps the shit out of him again. So yeah, I think they did a great job bringing Embo into that. And like you were saying, Brandon, that fight towards the end there, when the action scene for him and Din, Din pulls out the blades, and Embo's got those two swords with the hooks on them and stuff. I mean, it was just so well done and so greatly executed, I thought, and then also as we go back and forth between the Hutts rolling around, and then the two of them, it just was such a great job that they did to bring Embo into this. And yeah, I love that they let him live, so to speak, and he's just like, peace out. Him and the dog are out of there, and that's the end of that's the end of those two Hutts.
Yeah,
And
they're done.
And Grogu now has like they're gonna give Grogu like every ability under the sun. Like he can like force heal. He can he tamed. He can tame animals now. It's like he's gonna have a good relationship with the pup when next time he sees him. It's like he can again. I was just like we're sitting in the movie theater and his hand was over Din's wound and I was like do it. And my wife was like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "They're gonna let it. They're gonna give him the force healing. We saw it in the Mando, in the earlier in the season, but they're gonna put it on display again right here in the movie theaters. And then again when we see it coming up to Kaibu, it's like I was like, "Oh, they're gonna do it again and again soon enough." It's like this boy is the future of like they're gonna give him everything and show him off over the years.
Well, and I also
Yeah.
loved how they still showed sort of how naive he is, because he's like, okay, I'm going to heal him and he's going to be good. And he's like, he doesn't know about the poison,
Hmm.
Right.
so he's like, he's shaking him and trying to wake him up. And he's like, all right, now I'm going to go to what I've learned. Now I'm going to go to whether it was from Din or from before at the Jedi Council. All right, now I'm going to go. I'm going to keep him alive. I'm going to keep him comfortable. I'm going to keep him away from everybody because he knows that there's still people out and about looking for, for the two of them, or at least Din Djarin. So I thought it was a great job what they did to give us more character development with Grogu, sort of growing up and taking care of his master, his dad, whatever you want to call it, his partner even, and that was such a great job for, going out, finding the water first, and then
Yep.
going looking for food and just keeping Din comfortable, keeping him alive. He knows he's still alive. And then what a great job they do, bringing Embo in, telling that, other creature, what's going on. So now he knows, hey, listen, your partner here is dying. So this is
Yeah,
what's going to help you, go take this to him. But again, he might not make it. I'm just letting you know. But and same with that creature. We're all like, is it a Jedi? What is it? He's just some
a
dude.
fisherman, bro. He's just a random guy.
Yeah, just sitting there, whatever. He's living his best life right there, and comes up. But it was funny that the whole the scare jump, when that monster comes up and just devours Grogu, and then spits him back out
Oh
again.
yeah.
But I thought that was
The
I
frog.
thought that was a great, yeah, that was a great spot as well for them to do that, just to get everybody sort of, okay, we've been slow for a little bit, or Grogu's doing his thing, and all of a sudden, you're going to wake everybody up, and I thought that was a great job that they did there as well.
Yes, man, they killed it off. Like the more and more I think about it, I'm just like, damn, dude, like it couldn't have been any better. Obviously we're talking about like Thrawn earlier, and how, a name drop would have been great, but it's just kind of like Palpatine in a lot of these projects. Like, yeah, Palpatine's name dropped in, Andor and Rogue One, but it's just like you feel Thrawn's presence whenever they have the Imperial remnants and the Shadow Council going on, because that's, I mean, whether they know it or not, this is going to be a completely new jurisdiction across the galaxy. It's all going to be under the Shadow Council and Thrawn, and the loyalists know that he's going to be back. And I think it's going to be cool that once we get Ahsoka season 2, I mean, even Jon Favreau said like that's when we're really going to get into it. So you guys, we're going to enjoy this, and
Yep.
Dave's got the plan, and already, dude, whether, there are rumors, like Dave Filoni has so many things lined up, and like I feel like Star Wars Celebration next year, we're gonna get either trailers, announcements, and it's gonna be different than the Kathleen Kennedy drops. Which, I mean, hey, I liked what she did. That's just my opinion, but the way that Disney was announcing things, it was a little too quick. It's kind of like when you're like as a creator, you're like, I have this video planned out and this video and this video, and then you like maybe post it on your Instagram story, and it's like, but you haven't even recorded it yet. So like, what are you teasing? So that's what I think that they used to do. But I think now they have so many writers and so many stories that are going on right now, to where it's literally just like they're sitting there and it's going to be ready at a go. So there's going to be so many new things coming. in this new Filoni verse and Lin-Manuel Brennan, because those two are holding it down. We just saw them all Shadow Lord, guys. We saw how impactful those 10 episodes were, and they were only 20 minutes apiece. And like, how insane was all of that? We all lived through that greatness, and now we just got to see a freaking badass movie in theaters yet again. So it's just like the future is literally up in the air, and it's just ready to go. So I mean, what better time? And I know Mike and Ron always stress like what a better time to be a Star Wars fan, you know? So we're living in it right now, guys. This is some great things, you know what I'm saying? Hey, look at the two goats.
I love that.
got to hang out this weekend. It was we had a great time.
It's beautiful.
Had a cool time doing that, so for sure.
Mike looks like he's the same height as Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, man.
Yeah, right.
I know Mike was
he's got a few inches on me for sure.
I know Mike was a hooper back in the day like me, so someday we're gonna have to sit and get some Star Wars down and get some shots up, bro. But yeah, that's great, man. Well, guys, anything else we wanna end on?
No, like I said, I mean, shit, we could go on for hours and hours about this, and I know everybody's gonna watch it more, and we'll do more different breakdowns and stuff. But yeah, just go like you said, Brandon, at the beginning. Just go, have a good time, and enjoy a Star Wars movie. It's fun, it's entertaining. I mean, what more can you ask for? Like you were just saying again, the Ahsoka stuff is going to bring us more lore because it's on Disney Plus. It's a live action. A lot of people still don't even have an idea who the freak Ahsoka Tano is. So those are that's for us. This was for the bigger audience to start bringing more people in. Hopefully, we'll get them back to the Star Wars, to the theaters to watch Star Wars or to get on Disney Plus. Like a ton of the top 10, at least in the last few days, people have been watching The Mandalorian. People have been watching Maul. So those top 10 on Disney Plus are Star Wars, which is really cool. And I think it's helping bring some people that weren't too sure about what was going on back into the process of Star Wars, and some people have no idea what was going on, or like, okay, cool, I'm gonna go watch this Baby Yoda, with my kids and see what's going on. So we definitely have to, I think we got to give it props. I think they did a great job to get Star Wars back in the movie theater, in the last 6.5, 7 years since we've had a movie, and those movies were very controversial, as we all know. So I think this is not way better than that, but I think it's more fun for you to go in and just enjoy this movie. We know who the characters are. There's a little bit of character development. We get a couple new characters that we get some more, development on with Rada and Embo. But I just thought it was a really cool spot.
Yeah, John, what you got?
I'm here for it, man. It's like I just like off the top of my head, I don't have any complaints. Like it's one of those things where I had a good time. Everybody around me had a good time. I was sitting next to, Steph and I were sitting next to people of all ages. So like Ron said, it was for everybody. Like this wasn't just the Thrawn thing will be for me. Like that'll be for us when it's like, hey, the heir to the Empire, EU content being mixed in with Filoni dabbling in his magic and things like that. It'll come. Patience is a virtue. So for right now, I'm happy with the Mando movie. Thought it was a fun time. It's a good Star Wars story. I like that they didn't have the scroll credits. I think that's reserved for the Sagas, just like they said. I like when it's like Andor and things like that, where it's the almost video game vibe introductions, where it's like the planet, the timelines, the year, all that good stuff. I thought it was good, man. And again, I'm a big like go make up your own opinion. Don't let other people do it. There's a lot of that going on right now in this day and age with social media. Um, so just have a good time, man. Like it's really, if you go in with a negative experience to anything, you're gonna have a negative experience. So like go in, have a great time, and just enjoy the Star Wars timeline that we're living in because there was a lot of years where people weren't getting squat. So like to now be in a time where we're getting projects every 6 months, every 8 months, I'm here for it, man.
When are you
Yeah.
going to go again, John?
We'll find out when the wife when I hop off this call when the wife wants to look at the schedule.
Yeah.
Nice.
Absolutely, guys. Yeah. So, yeah, guys, if you haven't seen it yet, which you probably have, go check it out again. I mean, it's a fun time. and just really go enjoy yourself. Go with your family, go alone, go with some friends, go with some colleagues, whatever you want to do. Just go check the movie out and give it a try. I mean, they're already doing numbers in the box office. They're already it's already actually over this first weekend. It's already up way more than it was supposed to be.
Mhm.
So that's very telling. And like we've all said, just go enjoy it yourself. And that's the thing is if you walk out of the movies and you're like, you know what, I didn't really care for that movie, that's just fine too.
Yeah.
It's perfectly fine. So, and also
Yeah.
too, Ron, just to touch on what you were saying, like everyone is waiting for Ahsoka. This is where we get the lore stories. This is where we get everything. The Mando and Grogu movie could be that introduction for new fans. That's what pulls them in to this wide world of Star Wars. So this would be a great time to get in and really try to understand more Star Wars. Everyone has that one story that pulled them in to Star Wars. So I mean, the Mandalorian and Grogu could definitely be that one, and that'd be an awesome one to start with. So yeah,
Yeah,
that's good
absolutely.
stuff.
Do or do not. There is no try.
That's
Right.
correct.
Just go do it. Go do it.
Do it, man. But yeah, guys, so we're gonna end off today. We just want to give a huge shout out to everyone in the chat for joining in. This was absolutely great. First time going live after we just seen the newest Star Wars movie in theaters. Just absolutely crazy to say. And then if exactly a year from now, we're gonna have another Star Wars film in Sean Levy's Star Wars Starfighter, starring Ryan Gosling, Mia Goth, Matt Smith, Flynn Gray, Aaron Pierre, Amy Adams. I mean, goodness gracious, this thing is going to be star-studded. So, yeah, don't let anyone tell you Star Wars is dead, because it is not. There's plenty of more stuff to come. And also, too, guys, if you scroll down just a little bit from this video, there's the like button and the subscribe button. If you haven't hit both of those already, I don't know what to tell you. But then if you scroll just a little bit further, you're going to see all of the links for Ron at Star Wars Jedi Chat. We have his YouTube page right there, first and foremost, and then we have his Instagram as well. So it's all right there. You have no excuse not to go follow him and check him out if you haven't already. So, Ron, if you want to tell everyone where they can find you before we dip off, man, the floor is yours.
Absolutely. Well, again, thank you guys for having me on here. I love your podcast. Love that you guys are on Sunday mornings, which is really cool. So many cool people are in here that are in, with my chat and Mike's chat, and it's just such a great community that we have all here, and everybody's a positive Star Wars fan, and that's what I love about this. So yeah, Wednesdays 7 o'clock. Myself, Derek, Nick, and then Mike is usually there with us as well. We're breaking stuff down. We're talking about the new things. We're talking about old things. We do have some really cool, fun segments now. One's called the Mic Drop, which is got sort of nicknamed because Mike likes to kill everybody off. So we talk about a little bit of death and who's going to make it to the next episode or through the movie or whatever. And we also have a new Q&A that we're doing towards the end. So everybody come in and throw us some questions. We did the big Mandalorian question and answer thing this last week. So again, it's just fun. We're there Wednesday nights just to talk about Star Wars, what's coming up, new stuff, old stuff, along with some of the interviews with, Chris Bartlett, John Lucino, who's a novelist for Plagueis, just a whole bunch of really cool things to see on the channel as well. But thank you guys so much for having me here. Love talking about Star Wars. So anytime you need me to come back and chat about Star Wars, let's do it.
Yes, sir, man. Yep, you're one text away, man. We love what you're doing on your side as well, man. This is it's been a great time today, and we'll definitely have more stuff to talk about as soon as we go see this movie again and again and again. And whenever it comes to Disney Plus, I cannot wait to see this thing in 4K on the TV with the soundbar. It's not like IMAX; that's a different experience. Now I need to get it with the home experience, so I think that's going to be pretty tight. So, but yeah, guys, make sure you guys go follow Ron, and of course, check out John and myself. We're always on Instagram, pretty much posting daily. Go check us out there. All of our links are down below as well. And then, of course, subscribe here on Clan Mandalorian, or if you're here on the Boba Fett, be sure to subscribe as well. I mean, what are you doing? It's insane if you like someone not to subscribe to them. What are you doing? Or if you don't like us, then I guess you can still subscribe anyways.
What's not to like? What's not to like?
I know, like we're just two guys being dudes. I mean, it's nothing crazy.
Exactly.
That's what we do. But yeah, John, I know you started it, man. You want to finish it? You want to send us out?
Yeah, man, just another great day again. We have every week some incredible guests, and if not, you get to hear my boy Brandon and I yap for a bit. Love having Ron on. It's incredible channel. Love what you do, my man. I watch you on all your social media. It's incredible. So make sure to check him out. Other than that, I'm gonna speak it into fruition. I'm not gonna exactly say what it is, but your boy and we're cooking on something for these next couple weeks. We might have a
Nice.
guest that's popping on here that's gonna be one for the Guinness books. So I'm trying to work through that, but just speak it into existence and hopefully that happens. But other than that, nah, man, another great Sunday with the crew. Love everybody. Appreciate every single one of you. If you're in the States, happy Memorial Weekend. If you're international, happy weekend. I hope you have a great day. And yeah, man, we're here for it.
Absolutely. Yep. We will see y'all next Sunday, same time, same place, same galaxy far, far away. So we'll see y'all next time. Everyone have a good weekend. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, boys.
Later.